The sun was sinking behind the hills when the sky split open with a silent flash, like a tear in the fabric of reality. People in the small town stood frozen as a silver craft appeared above them, glowing softly like a falling star that refused to burn. No alarms went off, no explosions followed, only a strange calmness, as if the world itself was holding its breath. Stood outside his tiny radio repair shop, a screwdriver still in his hand, staring in disbelief. He wasn't a brave man or an important one. He was just someone who spent most of his days fixing broken wires and listening to old songs. But in that moment, as the craft descended slowly into the empty field nearby, he felt something he had never felt before, an invisible pull, a tremble in his chest like fate was whispering his name. The townspeople gathered at a distance, whispering nervously. Soldiers soon arrived and formed a circle around the landing site, weapons raised but fingers trembling. No one knew what to expect. Was it danger? Was it a message? Or was it the beginning of the end? The craft touched the ground with a soft hiss, and for a moment nothing happened. Found himself stepping closer without realizing it. Something inside him refused to look away. It wasn't courage, just a strange curiosity that felt stronger than fear. Then the door opened. A gentle mist flowed out, glowing faintly blue, and from within the light stepped a figure so delicate, so unearthly, that the entire field fell silent. She was tall but not intimidating. Her skin shimmered like pale starlight, smooth and flawless. Her hair floated around her as if underwater, strands glowing softly with silver-blue light. Her eyes, large, luminous, and filled with childlike wonder, moved slowly across the frightened crowd. It was the first time had ever seen an alien. And yet, for some reason, he didn't feel fear. He felt awe. The princess walked forward with slow, measured steps, as if she were stepping on fragile glass. She looked at the sky, the trees, the humans, everything around her with a gentle, curious expression. There was no arrogance in her gaze, no threat, only pure innocence, like a traveler lost in a beautiful but unfamiliar land. When her eyes finally met, she paused. He didn't blink, he didn't move. Something in her gaze reached deep into him, awakening a feeling he didn't even have words for. She tilted her head slightly, studying him with quiet fascination, as though she could see beyond his skin into the trembling heart inside. Soldiers stepped forward cautiously, but the princess raised one delicate hand, silently signaling them to stop. The air around her shimmered softly, like invisible waves of peace spreading outward. The soldiers lowered their weapons without understanding why. They simply felt calmer in her presence. Still standing closest to her, felt his breath catch in his throat. He had never seen such beauty, not the kind from stories or movies, but a beauty made of purity, warmth, and something otherworldly. He didn't understand why he couldn't look away. He didn't understand why his chest felt lighter and heavier at the same time. The princess stepped closer to him, her expression soft with curiosity. She blinked slowly, like someone trying to solve a gentle puzzle. Her voice, when she finally spoke, was music, soft, echoing slightly, as if two voices were speaking in harmony. "Why are you gazing at me like that, human?" Opened his mouth, but no words came out. His mind felt blank, his heart too loud. How was he supposed to explain the strange mix of fear, wonder, and something deeper he felt? She looked at him for a few more seconds, waiting patiently for an answer he could not give. Then her gaze softened further, almost like she understood his silence. The soldiers and townspeople watched in confusion and awe. They didn't know what was happening between the strange visitor and the ordinary young man. They didn't know why she had chosen to speak to him first. But they could feel something, something strange, something delicate, something powerful beginning to take shape. Finally managed to whisper, I don't know." The princess looked at him, her lips curving into the faintest, most fragile smile. At that moment didn't know it yet, but the world had just changed. And so had he. The next morning the sun rose slowly over the small town, painting the sky in soft shades of gold and pink. Woke early, even before the usual hum of the town began. His thoughts were filled with her, the alien princess who had appeared like a dream in the field the night before. He could still see her pale, glowing skin, the soft silver-blue light in her hair, and the way her eyes seemed to hold countless questions about the world. He didn't know why, but he wanted to see her again. Maybe it was curiosity. Maybe it was something more, a pull he could not name, something warm and unfamiliar that stirred inside him. He grabbed a bottle of water and walked toward the field where the craft had landed, unsure if she was still there. She was. Lyra, the alien princess, was sitting on the grass with her legs folded beneath her. She tilted her head, watching the sunlight ripple across the leaves. Her presence was quiet, gentle, and yet impossible to ignore. Her eyes sparkled with curiosity, and when she saw approaching, a soft smile formed on her lips. "Good morning, human," she said in that echoing, musical voice. "You came again." Nodded, unsure how to speak. I wanted to see if you were okay." His words sounded small even to him. "I am fine," she replied, "but I have much to learn about this world. Can you help me?" And just like that, a bond began to form. She did not ask for weapons or power. She did not care about wealth or fame. All she wanted was understanding, and for some reason could give it to her. Throughout the day, they explored the town quietly. She examined flowers, touching petals with delicate fingers. She stared at the streams, watching fish dart beneath the water. She listened to birds singing and tilted her head as if the music was a riddle she had never solved. And every question she asked was simple yet deep. Why do humans fear the dark? Why do birds sing in the morning? Why does water taste different in different places? Answered as best as he could. He explained the seasons, how the town worked, and even why the sun looked different from the hills each morning. He showed her the radios in his shop, teaching her how to listen to music and voices from faraway places. Lyra's fascination grew with every word, and her eyes shone brighter each time she understood something new. But it wasn't just her curiosity that captured. It was her wonder, the way she treated everything as extraordinary. Her presence made ordinary things magical. A simple river became a glittering ribbon of life. A single song from a radio felt like a story told by the stars. And sometimes, in quiet moments, she would look at him, not with the curiosity of a student, but with a gaze that felt soft and personal. Noticed it, and each time his heart raced. He felt emotions he didn't understand, fear, longing, all mixed together in a warm, confusing swirl. The townspeople began to notice too. They whispered about the strange girl and the quiet young man who walked with her. Some were frightened. Some were amazed. But none of them could see the connection forming in those shared silences and gentle words. Even when soldiers remained on the outskirts, observing her with suspicion, Lyra did not seem afraid. She walked among the humans with ease, as if they were part of the same story, and stayed close by, quietly guiding her and keeping her safe. By evening, they sat on a hill overlooking the town. The sun dipped low, turning the sky into fire and gold. Lyra reached for a small flower and studied it, then looked at with a thoughtful expression. "Human," she said softly, "I do not belong to this world. My people expect obedience, silence, and perfection, but here I feel something I have never felt before. Curiosity, warmth, freedom. I do not understand it fully." His chest tightened. He wanted to tell her that she did belong here, that she was safe with him, that this world could be hers if she chose it. But the words stuck in his throat. He simply nodded, letting silence speak for him. Lyra smiled faintly, almost shyly. She leaned back and looked at the sky, her hair glowing in the last rays of sunlight. For the first time, she allowed herself to simply be, without expectation, without judgment, without fear. Watched her feeling a strange mix of awe and protectiveness. He realized he didn't just want to show her the world anymore. He wanted to keep her safe. He wanted to be the reason she could smile without worry, and deep inside he felt something else, something tender and fragile, beginning to grow. The stars started appearing one by one in the darkening sky, and for a moment, the alien princess and the human boy sat together, sharing the quiet, understanding each other in ways words could not reach. And in that moment, the world felt endless, beautiful, and full of promise. Days passed, and the bond between and Lyra grew quietly but strongly, like a river carving its path through a mountain. Each day, she learned something new about Earth, and each day he discovered something new about her. Lyra was fascinated by the simplest things. How rain made the earth smell fresh, how children laughed without reason, how the wind could change the mood of an entire day. She asked questions endlessly, each one tinged with wonder. Answered patiently. He told her stories of his childhood, of his dreams, of the small joys he often overlooked. And in return, she shared glimpses of her world, a place of stars and vast oceans, of cities that floated in the sky, and of people whose lives moved differently without warmth or laughter. Listened, enthralled, and he realized that despite her incredible origins, she was lonely in ways he understood. One afternoon, they walked along the riverbank, the water glinting under the sun like liquid silver. Lyra bent down to touch the ripples, watching her fingers disturb the reflection of the sky. "Human," she said softly, her voice carrying a note of quiet confusion. "Why do humans look at each other this way? Sometimes with fear, sometimes with longing, sometimes with something I do not understand." Stopped walking and looked at her. He noticed how her eyes seemed to search his, trying to decode the language of feelings humans carried. He felt a lump in his throat because he realized he had been gazing at her like that every day, silently, and she had noticed. "You mean how I look at you?" he asked, his voice small. She nodded. "Yes, every day I feel your gaze. It is not fear, it is not simple curiosity, but I do not know what it is." Swallowed hard, words suddenly felt heavy yet necessary. "Because I've never met anyone like you," he admitted. "You make the world feel brighter, softer, and safer at the same time. I like being near you." For a moment, silence fell. Lyra's luminous eyes softened, and she tilted her head, trying to understand. She had studied human emotions for centuries, but nothing in her memory could match the warmth and honesty she felt in his words. Her chest felt tight in a strange way. Was this attachment? Was this affection? She could not define it, yet it made her heart, or whatever organ she had that matched a human heart, beat faster. "You like me?" she asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Nodded, feeling his cheeks warm. "Yes, more than I can explain." Lyra's hand hovered near his arm, unsure if touching him would break some invisible rule of existence. She finally let her fingers brush his lightly. The sensation was electric, yet gentle, like sunlight on a cool morning. Froze, not because it was uncomfortable, but because it felt right, like the universe had allowed a small miracle for this moment alone. Days turned into nights, and nights into quiet mornings. Lyra began joining in small routines, helping him repair radios, listening to his favorite songs, even learning to make tea under his guidance. Every laugh, every question, every shared silence added threads to a bond that was becoming unbreakable. Yet beneath the joy, a shadow lingered. Lyra knew she did not belong here permanently. Her people, her duties, her world, it waited for her. But in his presence, she felt something she had never felt before: choice. Choice to explore, choice to laugh, choice to feel without obligation or command, and that frightened her more than anything. One evening, as the first stars appeared, they sat on a small hill overlooking the town. Lyra's hair shimmered faintly in the starlight and felt a quiet ache in his chest, a longing for time to stop, for this moment to last forever. "Human," she said softly, almost hesitantly, "I do not know why I feel this way when I am with you. My people, they will never understand. They will never allow it." Reached out and held her hand firmly but gently. "Then let's not worry about them, not now, not yet. For today you are here and I am here, and that is enough." Lyra looked at him, eyes glistening with emotions she could not name. And for the first time she let herself smile freely, a smile that held relief, warmth, and something deeper: trust. The sun set behind them, painting the sky with fire and gold. In the quiet that followed, two beings from completely different worlds sat together, hearts unknowingly synchronized, sharing a bond that neither time nor distance could easily break. And though neither of them spoke it aloud, both knew one truth. They had found in each other something rare, something precious, something worth protecting. And for that realization brought a warmth so powerful, he could feel it in every fiber of his being. He would follow her anywhere, across worlds, across stars, if need be. The morning sky was unusually quiet, almost too still, as if the world itself was holding its breath. And Lyra were walking near the river, enjoying the soft rustle of leaves and the gentle splash of water against stones. Lyra bent down, her fingers skimming the surface, watching the ripples dance. For a brief moment, it felt like peace, the kind of peace had never known, and maybe Lyra had never allowed herself to feel. Then the sky split open again, but this time it was not calm. A massive shadow fell across the town, blotting out the sun. The silver craft that had first brought Lyra hovered above, but now it was not alone. Dozens of ships appeared, sleek and black, moving with precise speed, casting long, dark reflections over the hills. Fear gripped the hearts of the townspeople. Soldiers scrambled, shouting orders, but even they could not hide their terror. Felt a cold hand grip his chest. He knew without hearing a word that these ships were not visitors. They were hunters. Lyra turned slowly, her luminous eyes wide, the soft glow of curiosity replaced by something sharper, fear, worry, and resolve mixed together. "They are coming for me," she whispered, her voice trembling. "My father, my people, they will not accept my choice. They will bring war." Stepped closer to her. "We can fight them," he said firmly, though doubt gnawed at his words. "We can." "No," she interrupted gently but firmly. "They are far stronger than you or this planet. Humans are fragile. You cannot fight what you do not understand." Looked into her eyes and saw the weight of responsibility pressing down on her delicate shoulders. The alien princess, who had seemed so free and curious only days ago, was now trapped between her people and this small world she had begun to love. From above, a loud, mechanical voice echoed across the fields, amplified and cold. "Princess Lyra, you are required to return. Any interference by humans will be eliminated." The soldiers in the town tensed, unsure whether to raise their weapons or flee. Panic began to ripple through the crowd. Mothers clutched their children. Farmers stared helplessly at their crops. Lyra placed a hand on his arm, grounding herself, grounding him. "They will hurt you," she said softly. Her voice was calm, but the trembling in her fingers betrayed her fear. Swallowed hard. "Then let them try," he said, trying to sound braver than he felt. "I will not let them take you." She shook her head. "I cannot let you risk yourself for me. Humans are precious. I have learned that. I cannot allow harm to come to this world because of me." Her words made his chest ache. He wanted to argue, to yell, to insist that she stay with him, that they could face anything together. But as he looked into her eyes, he realized the truth. She carried a burden heavier than any human could bear. And yet, she had chosen him. She had chosen this world in some small way, even if only for moments like this. The alien ships hovered lower, sending beams of light across the field. Lyra's expression hardened, a strange mixture of fear and determination. "I will go," she said softly, almost to herself. "But I will not forget what I have learned here. I will not forget the humans who showed me kindness and courage." Reached for her hand. "Then I will go with you. Whatever happens, I will stay by your side." She looked at him, eyes glistening with unshed tears, and for the first time she allowed herself to truly feel the bond between them. "No, this is your world. My world will always call me back. But here you are safe, and that is what matters." His throat tightened. He wanted to protest, but the silence of the arriving ships left him powerless. All he could do was stand beside her, feeling the warmth of her hand in his, hopping against hope that there was still a way to protect her, and the town she had begun to love. The shadow of the ships loomed over them, the wind whipping through the fields, and for a moment the entire world seemed suspended between two possibilities: war or peace, fear or courage, loss or hope. Lyra raised her head, her voice soft but firm. "Human, remember me. Remember that we chose this moment of peace, and maybe one day our worlds will meet again differently." Nodded, his heart pounding. "I will never forget you." And in that silent promise, the story of two beings from different worlds, bound by curiosity, courage, and emotion, hung in the balance, waiting for the next choice, the next moment that could change everything. The alien warships hung silently above the town, their dark hulls reflecting the rising sun like mirrors of threat. Lyra stood in the middle of the field, her pale skin glowing softly as the wind teased her hair. Her luminous eyes scanned the horizon, and for the first time she looked small, not because of her size, but because of the weight of the decision she carried. Stood beside her, heart pounding, mind racing. He knew what was coming. Her father's empire would not negotiate, would not understand, would not forgive. They had come for her, not as a visitor, but as a prisoner, a prize, a ruler to be forcibly returned. The soldiers in black suits and helmets moved with precision across the field, waiting for her command or her failure. "You don't have to go," said quietly, his hand brushing against hers. "We can find a way, we can fight them together." Lyra shook her head, her glowing eyes meeting his. "No, humans cannot fight them. I've learned your strength, your courage, but even that is fragile against the weight of my people. If I resist, if they strike, they will destroy this town, and I cannot allow that. Not after what I have learned here." His chest ached. "You think you're protecting us, but what about yourself? What about your freedom?" Lyra's lips trembled, but she forced a faint smile. "Freedom is nothing if it comes at the cost of hurting others. I have found something more precious than freedom alone: compassion. I have seen how humans care, how you risk yourselves for others. And I do not want anyone to suffer because of me." Wanted to argue, wanted to scream that they could survive, that they could escape together, that they could defy her people. But when he looked at her, the alien princess who had touched his heart in ways no human could, he understood. Her choice was not weakness. It was courage, a courage unlike anything he had ever seen. From above, the commander's voice boomed, cold and unwavering. "Princess Lyra, return immediately. Human assistance will be eliminated. Do not resist." She straightened, her delicate figure glowing with quiet strength. "I will return," she said, voice soft but unyielding. "But there is one condition: no human shall be harmed, not now, not ever." The commander hesitated, unused to negotiation from someone they considered a child, a subordinate, a mere pawn. "Your choice is irrelevant," he said. "You will obey." Lyra stepped forward, her hands still brushings. "No, my choice matters. I have learned something your empire cannot teach: the value of life, the warmth of connection, and the courage to protect it. If you wish to take me, you will take me alone, but you will leave this world unharmed." Felt tears prick at the corners of his eyes. He had never been more proud of anyone. He wanted to hold her, to tell her he would go anywhere with her, but he knew that standing by her side meant also respecting her choice, even if it tore his heart. The commander studied her for a long, tense moment. Then, with a low hiss of his ship's engines, the Black Armada shifted slightly, signaling withdrawal. Lyra's choice had been heard, and her courage had carved a fragile space for mercy. She turned to, eyes shining with tears, a small, bittersweet smile on her lips. "You showed me something my world cannot give me: kindness, hope, freedom of heart. I will never forget it." Swallowed hard, his throat tight. "Then you choose us, this world, here." "I choose what is right," Lyra said softly. "And right now, right here, that means protecting you all." She brushed his cheek with her glowing hand, a gentle warmth spreading through him. "And protecting you." The air around them felt charged, as if the universe itself acknowledged the courage of this small human and the alien princess who had learned to care. Soldiers slowly lowered their weapons. Townspeople held their breath and stood frozen, feeling a profound mix of awe, relief, and sorrow. As the ships hovered and then began to retreat into the clouds, Lyra whispered, "I do not know how long I can stay, but while I am here, I will remember. And I will cherish this gift you have given me, humanity in its form." Reached for her hand again, holding it tightly, and finally, the words he had wanted to say all along came out. "I will never forget you either. No matter what happens, you will always have a place in my heart." She looked at him, glowing softly in the morning sun, and for a moment there were no worlds between them. No expectations, no empire, no fear. Only two beings, human and alien, connected by courage, kindness, and something more powerful than fear. And in that quiet field, as the first rays of light touched the earth, the alien princess made her choice. She chose compassion over command, connection over obedience, and a human heart over a throne she had never wanted. And in that choice realized something incredible. Sometimes true strength was not in power, but in the courage to protect what you love, even when the world demands you surrender it all. The black ships hovered silently above the town, their engines humming like a low, threatening heartbeat. Soldiers on the ground tensed, unsure whether to attack or flee, but stood firm. He had made a promise, to Lyra, the alien princess who had touched his heart, to protect her no matter what. "You can take her," he said, voice steady, even though his chest felt tight. "But you will not harm anyone here. Humans are fragile, yes, but we do not deserve your cruelty." The alien commander's eyes, cold and unreadable, swept over him. "You are brave, but weak. You will fall before us. Did not flinch. He felt Lyra's hand on his arm, small but warm, grounding him. Maybe we are weak, he admitted softly, but we are not powerless, and if you strike, you will see something you did not expect. The commander raised an eyebrow. He had faced countless worlds and conquered countless civilizations. Humans were always weak, always expendable. And yet, something about this one human made him pause. Suddenly, a sound rose from the town, a hum of voices, soft at first, then growing louder. One voice became many. Farmers, shopkeepers, children, mothers, fathers, they stepped forward from houses, from fields, from the streets. They had no weapons, no armor, only their presence. And yet, in their quiet courage, they radiated a defiance the commander could not ignore. We protect her. She is not alone. We will not let you harm her. The words spread like wildfire, echoing from one person to another, until the entire town seemed united. Lyra's glowing eyes widened in awe. She had studied humanity, yes, but she had never seen this before, not in her books, not in her memories of other worlds. Humans, fragile and mortal, standing together as one. The alien commander's expression shifted subtly. He had conquered empires, broken planets, and yet here, on a small blue world, the humans' courage pressed against him in a way he did not anticipate. Impossible creatures, he muttered under his breath. Felt a surge of hope. He stepped forward, holding Lyra's hand. See, this is what I wanted to show you. We are small, we are fragile, but we are strong together. You cannot take her without facing all of us. The commander hesitated. The ships above shuddered, engines whining as if sensing the tension. For the first time, he realized that strength was not only measured in firepower or technology. Strength could be human, quiet, persistent, and unyielding. Lyra's chest glowed softly as she looked at and the people around him. Tears filled her luminous eyes, not from fear, but from awe and gratitude. I have learned something your empire cannot teach. This is courage. This is kindness. This is humanity. The commander's voice was sharp, but less confident than before. Princess, if you insist, we will withdraw, but your fate is still bound to us. Lyra stepped forward, her fingers brushing once more. I will not abandon my people entirely, but here now I choose this world. I choose the humans who have shown me what life can truly be. You will leave them unharmed. A low hum passed through the ships, and one by one they lifted higher into the sky, retreating into the clouds. The shadow lifted, sunlight returned, and the birds began to sing again. The town exhaled as one, the tension dissolving like mist in the morning. Squeezed Lyra's hand, his voice thick with emotion. You did it. You chose us. You stayed. Lyra smiled softly, her hair glowing faintly in the sunlight. No, you showed me. You showed me that courage is not in conquering, but in protecting. You humans, you are remarkable. Laughed softly, relief flooding through him. Then stay here with us. Let this world be yours, even for a little while. She nodded, eyes glistening. I will, because I have found something worth protecting, worth staying for. The townspeople came closer, surrounding them, their faces filled with awe and wonder. They had witnessed the impossible, a princess from the stars choosing compassion and humanity rising to protect her. In that quiet moment, the world felt larger, brighter, and full of hope. Lyra turned to, her voice soft and warm. You have given me a gift I cannot repay. The courage to choose, the chance to feel, the hope that even a human heart can be extraordinary. Held her hand firmly. Then we will walk this path together, human and alien side by side. And in that moment, as sunlight bathed the field and the ships vanished into the sky, the alien princess realized something she had never known. The greatest power in the universe was not in empires, weapons, or rules. It was in courage, kindness, and the hearts willing to fight for what they love. And humanity had answered.